So you and I both know that the chase of sex and women and being driven by lust has caused many gents not to tap in or even reach their full potential. But on the other hand, have you also thought of this? How many times have you and I witnessed many people that we look up to, role models, public figures, our favorite celebrities, hyper successful people at the pinnacle of their careers, achieved everything that they've wanted in life, and all of a sudden they go from hero to zero and it all comes crumbling down? These are the gents you and I look up to, the people who've set the bar in terms of becoming successful, and all of a sudden it disappears like it never existed at all, just because of the fact that they lacked sexual discipline. And guys, we never ever call each other out when it comes to this. Many guys are ignorant when it comes to this topic, and it's something we need to start talking about. It's something that we need to start practicing. And we're not saying that you shouldn't be sexually active as a guy. We're not saying that you should stay away from it. No, we're human beings at the end of the day. We're attracted to women. Obviously, we're going to want to be with women. We're going to want to settle with women, even in casual situations. But at the end of the day, are we doing it responsibly? Or are we so driven by our lust to the point that we don't care who we end up sleeping with as long as we got some that particular night? And guys, you need to understand, one night, it only takes one night or a couple of hours to switch your entire life upside down. And that's why I made the example of the people you and I look up to, all our role models, our public figures, people who've set the blueprint. That's what happened to them in the long run. And no one wants to find themselves in that situation. And we find ourselves in compromising situations most of the time because of the fact that we lack sexual discipline. A guy goes from having it all to having nothing at all. Guys go from being that guy who has the potential to being hyper successful, to being the guy who could have had it all, to being the guy if only he could have. Now, it's not nice when you hear these kind of things. It's not. Trust me when I tell you that. But we need to start understanding as well, a man that is controlled by his sexual desires, a man that is driven by lust, is a man that's about to lead a life of chaoticness, all right? And it's not going to end well for anyone. I mean, think of the consequences, all the negative consequences that you're bringing into your life, things that you hardly think about. And as gents, that's why I say we need to start speaking about these things. You're a married man. You've got a beautiful family. You're hyper successful, But all of a sudden, just because you are that successful man, you have all the money in the world, you drive the best cars, you live in the best house, you can afford absolutely anything and everything. Obviously, my guy, your pool in terms of women is going to be bigger. I'm sure even when you were still coming up, you had a pool of women, but it's not as big as it is now. And the fact that you can't control your sexual desires, what happens then? You start to become excessively promiscuous with different types of women. You don't even care about the type of person that they are. You don't even care who they are, when they are. They just look excessively beautiful to you, and you need to be in her pants. I mean, bro, think about this. If you're going through 10 women in a month, whatever the case is, and another month you're going through another 10, you are building up when it comes to your rotation of those women, and you don't care the type of people that they are. It takes one woman to start crying about sexual assault, sexual abuse. You did something to her. It only takes one to start crying. You don't even need to end up behind bars for your life to start crumbling down. Imagine you have big sponsors for your business. Do you think they want to be associated with a man or business or someone who's the face of their products, whatever the case is? Do you think they want to be associated with someone who's accused of those kind of things just because you couldn't zip it up? Just because you couldn't look at the bigger picture? You couldn't realize that what are you compromising just for one night of pleasure and temporary pleasure on top of that. You're not just actually sacrificing that. You're not compromising that only. Your family. Your wife walks away from you. She's had enough. You know, the family's being split apart. Is it really worth it? Again, we stick to the married man. Is it going to be fair when you start contracting sexually transmitted diseases and you're giving it to your wife? Let's say it's life-threatening to the point that both of you die. Aren't you burdening your children? Now your children grow up without parents because of the fact that you took that one decision, you gave in. You never ever in your life practiced sexual discipline. It's crazy, and I spoke about the legal consequences. It's consequences that some guys actually fail to come back from. You and I have seen this time and time again, all over social media, all over the internet. Public figures that you and I look up to, some of them are still behind bars. And I know some people, some gents are going to come in and say, but it's not always that the guy is guilty. I get that. I definitely get that. But right now, we're not speaking about the ladies and where they're going wrong. We're talking about where you and I can improve as guys in terms of our own sexual discipline, you know, being in control of our sexual desires rather than our sexual desires being in control of us. And I'll repeat it again. A man that is controlled by his sexual desires and is driven by his lust is a man that is going to lead a chaotic life. That is guaranteed. All right, you will never ever build anything if you are controlled by your lust. You'll never achieve anything if you are continuously controlled by your lust, because you are always out and about chasing the next skirt. And it needs to come to an end, guys. You want to be successful, you need to develop the trait of being self-disciplined. You need to learn to say no to temporary pleasures. Stop giving in to instant gratification. Rather live that lifestyle of being able to say no, to be disciplined, to be able to achieve everything that you desire. Even when you achieve it, you might be a single guy, fair enough, but it doesn't mean that even though you're doing casual relationships, it doesn't mean that you mustn't be aware of the people you're engaging with. And us as gents, we need to start surrounding ourselves with guys who will call us out on our own bullshit. You know, when we start going wrong where we don't even see it. We need to start surrounding ourselves with mentors who will directly tell us that, my guy, what you're doing is going to lead you to the path of destruction. You don't want that, all right? And many guys instead, they surround themselves with guys who actually urge them on. They cheer them on when they have 10 or 15 women on their call log. You know, they call him the man. Guys, I'm not speaking from a point of view of being better than you, but I'm speaking from a point of view of actually being aware of where this is leading us as a group of guys who want to grow in this life. We want to be successful, but we don't show it. We want to achieve great things, but we don't show it just by the fact of us not being sexually disciplined. As much as we all love having sex, we love enjoying ourselves. I love it too, don't get me wrong. But I'm very careful who I engage with at the end of the day, and you need to start doing that. All right? Even though you're not in a relationship, you're doing things casually, it is still important for you to know the type of person that you're engaging with. Yes, you'll never know a person 100%, but you don't want 15 years down the line, someone says, he did this to me. I can tell you now, it takes one cry. You've seen it. It's nothing new. It's nothing special. We see this on a day-to-day basis. People we look up to every single time, they lose it all just because of that. It's called negative publicity. All you need is that negative publicity in terms of sexual abuse, and watch how your life will spiral out of control. You don't want that, especially if you're a guy that's coming up and a guy that is already achieving it all. All right, so let's try to be the best versions of ourselves, guys. Let's try to build each other, and let's try to do all these things, especially these guys who are in casual relationships. You know, you're taking it easy, you're not committed. Let's try to do it in a much more responsible way, that it doesn't come back and bite us where we least expected. All right, so guys, remember, Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Remember, it's Conversations with Dave.